Hey, good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday morning, it sure doesn't feel like Christmas week, and we have some serious subjects to talk about, especially when we look at the severe weather threat towards Wednesday evening and Wednesday night, which is now significantly higher than when I talked to you this time yesterday morning. All right, I think all of the state has a chance of severe thunderstorms and maybe some tornadoes, but I think parts of North Alabama may have a significant tornado threat. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. I think it's the biggest deal for Alabama this year. We've had kind of a soft severe weather year, so we're out of practice. That's one thing. The other thing is a lot of this happens in the nighttime hours. That really bothers me a whole lot. I hope you can stick with me for a couple of minutes. Let me walk you through the maps, and I'll tell you what we're expecting, and then we'll summarize at the end. Here's radar at 5 o'clock this morning showing the heaviest rain has now shifted into southeast Alabama, and the wiregrass is getting drenched. Places like Enterprise and Dothan, all of that will be clearing out later on this morning, and I think much of the morning will be dry. Now, here's the rainfall totals overnight. Some places in Montgomery and Bullock County had more than 4 inches of rain. In the pink areas, you see more than 3 inches of rain. That's significant. So round 1 is over. Round 2 coming in this evening, but still the big storm is way out over the Rockies right now, still gathering strength. So it's all very complicated coming together. Round 2 this evening. Here's 4 o'clock this afternoon on future radar showing more rain moving north out of the Gulf of Mexico, overspreading the area. There's 8 o'clock tonight. It's going to be much like last night, a soaker again. And as we go to midnight tonight, you can see the heavy rains continuing, but I don't think we're severe. I think the severe weather threat comes later. That would be on Wednesday. So this evening, the storm is still gathering strength. Now just about to move into Kansas with low pressure developing and the best tornado threat during the daytime hours today. Severe thunderstorms and tornado in the Arklatex region, a marginal risk of severe weather down near our coastal area. Here is the setup at 6 p.m. Wednesday. I think from late Wednesday afternoon through Wednesday evening and into Wednesday night will be the greatest severe weather threat in our area. And that includes a slight risk for all of us with the threat of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, but an enhanced risk in northwest Alabama, north of I-20, where there could be some significant tornadoes, perhaps, maybe some long-lived tornadoes as far as tracks on the ground. We'll be watching that carefully as we track the storms on Wednesday night, and I think in the overnight hours, the chances will start to diminish. There's 6 p.m. Wednesday night, supercell thunderstorms, especially in parts of Mississippi and northwest Alabama, where a tornado outbreak could be ongoing, and then midnight, things will start to scale down a little bit. Still a threat of some severe weather here in our area, some isolated severe thunderstorms. So we'll call for damaging winds as the greatest threat here, but also the risk of tornadoes. That'll be well in through Wednesday night, and I think in the overnight hours start to diminish and some locally heavy rainfall as well. Here's noon Christmas Eve, and the front has moved into northwest Alabama, and still there could be some stronger storms. In fact, a marginal risk of severe weather during the day on Christmas Eve, and I don't think the tornado threat will be high, but not zero on Christmas Eve, mainly straight line winds. Rainfall totals could be excessive. Look at Panama City, 7 inches by about Thursday evening. 5.4 inches in the Wiregrass, 2.5 inches in Montgomery, a lot of rain ahead. Here's Christmas Day, mostly cloudy, a 30% chance of showers, I'll say, a near record high of 80. The record is 81 back in 1987, an incredible Christmas Day. And as a matter of fact, here's the next few days. We're talking about lower 70s today, we're talking about mid 70s tomorrow, upper 70s, near a record on Christmas Eve, near a record on Christmas Day, probably near a record on Saturday as well, with a chance of showers remaining. So there's the crazy warmth we have through Sunday, and then still mild next week, but cooler, and then much cooler, but not cold as we get into past New Year's Day into the early part of the new year. So this is shaping up to be kind of a pretty big deal Wednesday evening, Wednesday night across the area. Now, let me put it in perspective. You remember the Christmas outbreak on 2012? That was a much higher risk. So we're not looking at that kind of risk, but still, this has my attention. There'll be new information I'll be looking at all day long. I'll have another post for you late this afternoon, bringing you up to date on the latest. And tomorrow morning's video will be very important as far as the latest information, and I'll walk you through the timeline as well. So we'll get through this thing. I hope you have a great day today. A lot of rain on the way too, and we'll see you later.
Rich Thomas weather.